They give you the length AC is equal to 14, and you should notice that that is a diagonal. Let's call that D1. And they give you BD is 10. That's another diagonal, so let's call it D2. This is supposed to be a kite. And the formula for a kite, sorry, it's supposed to be a rhombus, my bad. And the formula for a rhombus is the same as if it was a kite. Area equals 1/2 D1 times D2. So we called D1 14, and we called D2 10. So very straightforward. Just plug it all in, and the area is going to be 70 centimeters, and because it's area, 70 centimeters squared. Number 6 is another straightforward one. It doesn't give you a picture, but it tells you that it's a trapezoid. So let's use the formula for a trapezoid. 1/2 times the height times the sum of the bases. And then it tells you that the bases are 9 and 12, and that it has a height of 3. So plug in all the stuff that you know. The height is 3, so replace h with a 3, replace the base 1 with a 9, base 2 with a 12. It really doesn't matter the order there. And do some math. Multiply it all out, and you get, what, 63 over 2, or 31.5. The units is centimeters, and its area, so centimeters squared. Cool. Number 7 is going to have a lot going on. So let's look at this. We know it's a kite, so very similar to the rhombus. It's going to be area equals 1/2 D1 times D2. The problem is we don't have the entire diagonal. We only have a piece of it. So we're going to have to figure out what x and y are first. Now, the cool thing about finding these is I know because it's a kite, its diagonals are perpendicular to each other. So I know those are all right angles there, which means down where you see y and 28 and 35, that's a right triangle. So you guessed it, we're going to use Pythagorean theorem again. So, all right, remember the C is across from the right angle. So we'll call that C, we'll call this A, we'll call this B. So we have 28 squared plus y squared equals 35 squared. All right, I've already done this one out, so I'm not gonna write everything here. I'll just do the math on my calculator and say y squared equals, after doing the math, I got 441 square root, and y equals 21. Cool. Now we should be able to find x, because now I know two sides in this right triangle. So I'll do Pythagorean theorem again. And this time it's going to be B is 21, C is across from the right angle, so the 29 will be C, and that means x is going to be your A. So we have x squared plus 21 squared equals 29 squared. And I've already done this one all out, so I'm going to go through it very quickly and say that x squared equals 400. Square root that, and x equals 20. So now that I know that x is 20, I know this entire diagonal. Let's use a different color. Let's use yellow. I know this entire diagonal is going to be the sum of 20 and 28. So let's call that diagonal 1. 20 plus 28, so 48 for diagonal 1. And the other diagonal, one part of it is 21, But since it's a kite, that's the diagonal that gets bisected. So since that piece is 21, this other piece is also 21. So our other diagonal, we'll call it diagonal 2, is going to be 21 plus 21, or 42 inches. So go back up to my kite formula, and the area is found by doing 1/2 of diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So 1/2 of 48 times 42. Do the math, and we get 1,008 inches, and its area, so let's call it inches squared. All right, I got 3 more examples. This time we're going to be using the area to find a missing length. So the first one we have is a trapezoid. So I know the area is equal to 1/2 of the height multiplied by the sum of the bases. All right, so let's identify the bases. They're the ones that run parallel with each other. So if that's base 2, this is base 1. And the height is the segment that runs perpendicular. So that 11 will be our height. Now that I know that, let's plug in all the stuff that we know. Well, this one tells us that the area is 231 squared millimeters. So I'll replace A with 231. I'll replace H with 11, base 1 with 23, and base 2, I won't replace you because I don't know you. We'll simplify what we got here. 11 times 1/2, how about 5.5? And let's do some algebra. Divide by 5.5. What do we get? We get 42 equals 23 plus B2. Subtract that 23. And we get B2 equals 42 minus 23. How about 19? And it's a length, so it'll just be 19 millimeters. All right. Now in example 2, over here, finding D2 of a kite. So start with the kite formula. It says D1 is 14 and A is 238. Cool, so let's replace what we know. A is 238, so 238 equals 1/2. And D1 is 14, so replace that D1 with 14 so we can find out what D2 is. Do a little simplifying. And let's solve for that D2 by dividing by 7 on both sides. And what's 238 divided by 7? Let's go with 34. The units are inches, and it's a length, so it's just regular old inches. And my last example, woohoo, we made it. Find the perimeter of this rectangle. Ooh. It says the area is given by this expression here, but we're missing the height. So we need to start this thing by finding the height. Now, to find the height, let's use this area that they gave us. So they said the area is equal to the base times the height. Well, I know the area is given by that expression. So let's replace A with 79.8 x squared minus 42 equals, let's replace B with the value for B down there, 21. And I don't know what H is, so we'll figure that out. Now, the algebra is kind of easy here. Just divide by 21. But remember, when you divide by 21, you're dividing everything by 21. So that's 79.8 x squared divided by 21, which is 3.8 x squared. And that's negative 42 divided by 21. which is -2. So I found that h is equal to 3.8 x squared minus 2. Cool. So now that we have h, we can add up all the sides and find the perimeter, because the perimeter is just the sum of the sides. I know some of you have a quicker, more efficient way to do that, and that's cool. You can do it. But we're going to say that the perimeter is equal to, since it's a rectangle, I know that this side is 21, and so is the opposite side. So I'll have 21 and another 21. And since it's a rectangle, since the height is 3.8 blah 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 on that side, then the other side is congruent to it. So I'm going to have a 3.8 x squared minus 2 and another 3.8 x squared minus 2. That's supposed to be a parenthesis over there, if you can see that. So let's combine like terms. Let's add everything up and see what our perimeter is. So I see a 21, a minus 2, and a minus 2. Let's add all those like terms up. 21 and 21 make 42. Minus 2 is 40, and then minus another 2 takes us down to 38. And then let's add up these x squareds. I've got 3.8 x squared and another 3.8 x squared that I'm adding together. So that makes 7.6 x squared. And there's our perimeter. The units is going to be centimeters. And since perimeter is just a linear measurement, it'll just be regular old centimeters. Cool, thanks for getting through all these examples with me. Squareds. Things for you to ponder. All right, think about these questions. Try to come up with some good questions to ask me in class. All right, have a wonderful evening. Last thing I want you to do is think about these questions. So you can pause the video, read over them real quick, and see if you can answer any of them so we have something fun to talk about when you guys come to class tomorrow. All right, have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.